professionally, because of how mental illness is perceived at workplace, I had no option but to keep a poker face for a very, very long period of time, uh, because that's something you don't talk about. Um, I came to US 5 years back from India, Delhi, and to my surprise, I thought only in our society in India was that you don't talk about mental illness because how would people perceive you? And here I am in US, and the situation is just the same. To my surprise, that people are equally closed talking about mental illness and even shunning people who have or undergoing mental illness. Stigma is a big elephant in the room, whether it's in your personal lives or whether it's in your professional lives. Um, why I say personal life? Because at times even your better half, it's difficult for them to understand what you're going through. I think at the personal level also, your friends, your family really need to understand. Give the ability to the person who's living with this illness to come out freely and talk about it. Statistics speak for themselves. Every second person in the room is experiencing some kind of stress. Every fifth person in the room is suffering from anxiety. Every one person in 10 people is suffering from depression. Like, why should mental illness or anything to do with my mind be treated any differently? It's also a part of my body. So why would it be treated differently?
Mental health issues are a tough topic to talk about, really, not only just within the Latino community. I mean, you can see it even in the United States, just throughout multiple cultures. It is a topic that is hard to talk about. A lot of times it can be overlooked because, they're not topics that people feel comfortable that you want to talk about or really address face to face. It's something that can be put on the back burner, and like I said, without access to treatment or resources, it's definitely not at the forefront of people's minds.
Having had a loved one with serious medical illness, where previous to my son being diagnosed, people were driving up the driveway, dropping off casseroles from the church, from the community. What do you need? As opposed to having a loved one get diagnosed with serious mental illness, which is a medical illness, and hearing crickets. So again, no one really asking or calling and saying, how are you doing? I remember the first time I had to take my son to the emergency room, and I was definitely alone in the whole journey. It was just him and I living together at the time. And when I dropped him off at the emergency room, we went in, we got him checked in, and I came out to the parking lot. It was the most lonely place on earth. I'm sitting there, in this lonely parking lot, not knowing whether I should leave, if they were going to call me. Again, he was an adult, so should I go home? Should I stay? And not wanting to go home because it would be more silent there.
I think the stigma in the small communities is, in a way, hard to overcome at times. It can be overcome, and the stigma is a lot of self-stigma, worried about other people will judge you, other people will think this, or I won't be able to show my face here, because they know. And so it's a lot of self-stigma and worries, I think more so than what other people will actually think. So it's really looking inward and trusting that your community will support you, and just kind of being brave in that way.